Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here. This is the Astrological Winds channel. Going to take a look this time at the astrological weather report for the week of November 18th through 24th. And the big thing going on this week, which I've talked about a lot, so I'm not going to talk about it much this week, is Pluto is going into Aquarius for the next 20 years now until 2024. Big shift. But we also have the sun going into Sag this week, which I'll talk about, and big configuration right now, today and tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, with Mercury, Jupiter, and Chiron, which I got on the board here for us to share. Look at that configuration this week. So just a little business first. The Astrological Winds channel is a free video blog that I do on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube account, you like what you see, I'd really love you to become a follower. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. I noticed I have a lot of followers, but if you don't turn on your notifications, then you don't know when I'm posting the blog, so you got to make sure you turn that on too. And remember, the blog was a podcast for many years before it was a YouTube channel. So it's still available on podcasts. Buzzsprout puts it out there. A bunch of different podcasts pick it up. Just look up Astrological Winds channel on your on a podcast. You should be able to find it. If you can't find it on one, look at somewhere else. Apple, I know for sure, has it on theirs. And that way, that frees you up. You don't have to look at a video. You need to be driving or doing something else and still be able to hear the blog. I also post the links on Instagram. There is an Instagram page for the Astrological Winds channel. If you'd like to become a follower of that, you'll get it in your newsreel every week when it comes up. Also on my private Facebook page, which is Matthew with 2 T's, Lawton, L-A-U-T-E-N. If you friend me, it'll come up in your newsreel. Now, the other best place really to find it besides YouTube is on my website. That's www.astrologicalwinds.com. And I have a blogs tab on top. You hit that, and not only will this week's blog be there, but several of the past weeks will be there, a few months back. Also the annual one. So in particular for something like Pluto and Aquarius, which is the main thing I talked about in the annual one, and I'm not going to go through it all again this time, great to reference back to. So if you ever need to find that. Also, I do an Earth and Sky calendar up there where it tells you some of the Earth holidays going on each week, some of the old holidays, that many of which have been kind of forgotten. But are still very significant in the energy that goes on in the world. And also, that gives you the menu for my professional services. I am a professional astrologer, been doing readings for over 20 years. A lot of people have had amazing readings we've done together. I'd like to do one for you too, when you're ready for that, or someone that you know. When you're ready, this is way more than you'll get from a computer or somebody who's a beginner or just reading a book. This is something, your chart is with you your whole life, and you really should know it. You should really know the energies well. You should have someone professional, if not me, someone else professional do it for you. It's something you never lose. You go through different cars, houses in your life, but you never lose your chart. So make sure you get it done, is my point. And I have all kinds of other readings I do too. Predictive readings for the year, fixed star, relationship, astrocartography, all kinds of different stuff. You got to check the menu out. And also stuff for groups. If you're looking for a lecture or workshop, same thing. Check the menu out. Also, professionals who need daily or weekly or monthly advice, I have that going on too. So if you want to work really intimately with your business or some project or in your life, you can afford to do that. Please get in touch with me. The website has my contact. Here it is also, matthue823@gmail.com. Also looking for a couple more students right now. The couple people that would really like to start taking classes. I can get up a couple more. We could do them live every week or so. So if you're interested in that, let me know also. So, all right, all that stuff. What I asked for the payback for giving out this free video information blog, and everybody's out there with this open source, and a lot of people are making money off the web, is that you pass the link on to somebody else. Please, 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 when you're done. If you'd like to give a donation, nothing is too small. It actually costs me a little money to put the blog out, but I still Want to do that for everybody. And here's my Venmo handle. Here's my Cash App handle. Every $5 you give, I will put you in for a raffle drawing to win a free reading, possibly that you can, use for yourself or gift it to someone else if you're not feeling that. And like I said, even $5 is not small enough. And everybody who's ever given with currency, I really appreciate you guys. I know that the blog seems to be very helpful to a lot of people. So all right, let me get into it here. So, not a real super busy week, although we do have these two changing signs. Not going to get back into that Pluto very much. I'll give you guys a little synopsis. What I'm really interested in is this thing, and excuse the bottom of my circle here, it kind of flattened a little. Jupiter Chiron sextile, right? Been talking about it for over a month now, and it's activated again this week by Mercury on Monday and Tuesday. Mercury forms an exact opposition. Mercury in a weak sign in Sagittarius for Mercury, which I talked about a couple weeks ago when it went in there. You go back to that blog and refer to why opposite Jupiter in Gemini, which is sextile. There's the sextile to Chiron, which has been it's kind of standing still in the sky for weeks now because Jupiter changed direction right after it did the original sextile in mid-October. So they've been really tight, and all the planets have been getting to hook up with them and activate them, and so Mercury is doing it this week. And there's the opposition, there's the trine to Chiron from Mercury. And then Mercury is also, the same time, it's got a tricky sesquiquadrate to Mars and a semi-square to the asteroid Juno. So, this is like one big energy. Like I said many times to you guys, astrology aspects do not act in a vacuum. They are like a symphony. They play together like an orchestra, like it's not like, oh, this is what one thing means. And that's what I mean. That's why you need a professional reading if you haven't gotten one, because that's what a computer can't do for you or a book. But anyway, let's talk about this. What this thing is really driven. Remember, the whole thing with Jupiter, I've said it every week now for the last few weeks. The whole thing with Jupiter Chiron is it's trying to teach us new things. It's trying to have us see things differently, from a higher viewpoint, from a higher understanding, from a secondary, deeper understanding of things. So we're learning new things, and those new things are coming and they're adjusting our knowledge base so that they're widening it. It should be becoming more tolerant, more open. Okay. And if you want to work with this energy correctly anyway and get the most benefit out of it. Okay. And that will bring in healing energy to us. It will heal the mind. It will heal a lot of the things that we're feeling painful about. Like if we can appeal and get this higher learning and be open to it and see things from a different viewpoint. So with Mercury is the driver this week on Monday and Tuesday to hitting this Jupiter Chiron sextile again. And Mercury opposite Jupiter is by far the stronger of the energies going on, just a second harmonic, so like when Mercury is opposite Jupiter, it is big ideas, big, wide vision. Really excited about it, really stimulated by it, very sure that we're right about what we're seeing in this big, wide vision, and that's part of the danger of Mercury Jupiter right there. We're sure we're right, because that really can start getting us, number one, arrogant about what we believe in, and therefore coercive in it's an opposition. So it's like we're trying to get a message out. That means we're trying to push our big vision. We're trying to get others to agree with us on this. But when we get too pushy with it, we start to come across as arrogant, and it kicks in people's natural defense systems to be like, whoa, 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 hold on. I get the enthusiasm, the buoyancy, the optimism, and everything, right? But especially with Mercury and Sag, where it's really weak, where are the details to your plan? Have you thought them out even? Or are you just on some kind of high, on some higher vision, and you haven't worked out any of the details? Because what happens with Mercury opposite Jupiter is if you haven't done that, you're going to come across as being really sloppy, unprepared, not knowledgeable, unwise, possibly even, in your decision making process, and you're going to trip yourself up. So you have to be really, really careful on this one. We have to be really not have a self-righteous attitude. Now, the good thing about Jupiter is it does give us the ability to keep an open, wide mind. And even Mercury in Sag in Jupiter's sign, even though it's in detriment there because it is like exponentiating that tendency to overlook details, like, I mean, I can think of a lot of things going on in the world this week and right now where people, in society have overlooked a lot of the details of their plans and the things that they're choosing to do, the decisions that they're making. So part of this is remaining open to others' input, especially people who may have higher knowledge or wisdom than you or are coming from a completely different place, a completely different background, class, race, whatever it may be, because they have parts of the puzzle you may be missing. So like if we can come up with that attitude, and that's where the Mercury trine Chiron can really help this, where we can be like, oh, we can be more tolerant because we do want to learn more, and we can adjust our attitudes on that, and then we can really work well. Then we can sit down and work with people and come up with a plan and organize things and get things going. But here's that's something that's counteracting that is this Mars sesquiquadrate going back to the Mercury too. This really doubles down on that energy of believing we're right. Okay. And that, like, no one can tell us anything else. And we'll get defensive posturing right away if anyone challenges our beliefs. But the sesquiquadrate shows that we're stuck actually in those beliefs. We're kind of a little in the homeostatic state there. And like we're not listening, not taking anything in, and creating like a lot of like, defensive reactions from others and weird results to some of the decisions we're making if we go that way. So we have to really be sure that we don't get so egotistically attached to our belief system that we get arrogant in the way we're bringing things across, get impulsive with the decision making, don't really look at the details, don't take care of them, get sloppy, and then everything gets messy. And what does that do? This can stress partnerships. That's where the semi-square to Juno is. Juno in Scorpio too. So your partner is seeing you making these mistakes and like really like feeling really frustrated and angry about that. So we really need to work the Mercury Chiron part of this, of like bringing in, because the energy is kind of, you can see it's kind of split, but maybe moving a little bit towards the part where we have a tendency to be impulsive and be arrogant and have this grand vision, but not really have the way we're going to do it worked out at all. So this is where we need to stand down a little bit, allow this Jupiter Chiron and Mercury Chiron to kick in here and do an adjustment to our attitude that says, yes, I am willing to take in more. I am willing to be tolerant of others' viewpoints. I am willing to think that someone different than me has something for me that's beneficial. So I mean that would be the right way to handle that energy, and really take care of that. So also, let's see here. Also today we have also going on Monday and Tuesday is the Pluto going back into Aquarius. Okay. So Pluto in Aquarius, I've talked about it multiple times already, guys. Like, this is something that is, literally the midpoint of the change of the ages from the age of Pisces, going into the age of Aquarius. I really think it started approximately 100 years ago. There's a 200-year cusp of the blending of the Piscean energy with the Pluto, I mean with the Aquarian energy, right? And so there's this 200 years, and like with Pluto going in there, I really think it shows us this is that center point now. This is the time where we're really going into that. And I talked about it a lot in the annual, and I also talked about it a lot in the monthly 2 or 3 times. Okay. So what I really want to do this time is just remind everybody the big thing with this, this is a societal change. It's a transformation that's coming through society. It's going to have a lot to do with technology. It's going to have a lot to do with science. It's going to have a lot to do with artificial intelligence. And are we going to use that to improve things for everybody, which is what Aquarius ideally should be doing? Or are we going to use it to create a technocracy where there's like, this one maybe powerful group on top that has all the power of like this energy of the AI and the technology and the science, and they're the ones who are driving this energy, and they're the ones who are like making it like the way they want their ideals to be, which, with an Aquarius sign, it always shows there's going to be a lot of different social movements going on, and people are very stuck to their values and belief systems and what is going on with that. So, to me, this is like, a harbinger of this age. We're really going into a new part of this, and we can see the power that technology and science and cold intellect has, and and not connecting to emotions, and and discounting what the other side is in a battle over values, right? But the real highest way that we can use this energy together would be for every individual to find what their unique talent is and be that for society. And that's what would actually transform society and the systems of society, which is what Aquarius wants, into something much higher than what we've got going on right now. So I think that, this is a real big harbinger. This is a real big time going on right now where there is this opportunity to make something like that happen. But like there's what is the choice going to be is the question. Which way are we going to go with this? Because we can see that there is a lot of energy like tied up in this, and there's a lot of different ways of looking at this in society, and Pluto is literally will take society to another place and transform it. It really doesn't care what the individuals within that society think about that. Like, it's just going to do it again anyway. So very, very interesting energy going on there. And then Thursday is the day that the sun goes into Sagittarius. And as soon as it goes into Sagittarius, because Pluto just went into Aquarius, it's going to sextile Pluto right away. So the sun in Sagittarius is a time when, we really get into the adventuristic frame of mind. It really is very positive, very enthusiastic, very like wanting to push the barriers, wanting to have new experiences, wanting to go to the edge. When we are in Sagittarius energy, we can be really into adventures, sports, athletics, just, higher knowledge, stuff that's bringing in new. In fact, it really blends in well with the Mercury Jupiter part, which is good because it's pushing for, that grander vision, but it also can feed that Sagittarian tendency to once again be flippant and overlook details. They're bothersome, which includes emotions once again. Sagittarius will run from deeper emotional stuff. It doesn't want to be tied down by that. It's more interested in intellect, higher knowledge, intuition. What can I learn from these things? So once again, to be really careful about adopting an arrogant tone with what we believe in with Sag. Now, one of the good things about Sag though is it's not it's a freedom lover. Like it wants its freedom and it's willing to give freedom to others too. So it's very tolerant. So that will help with the Mercury trine Chiron part and the Jupiter sextile Chiron part to opening up to others' viewpoints, to getting information from other cultures, different people from different backgrounds as you, just upping your game, learning a lot, finding like new ways to like expand your knowledge base and therefore adjust your values and philosophy of life. But we have to be really careful once again about overlooking details. Also, an insensitivity, a tactlessness that comes with Sagittarius. It's very honest, you know, to the point of recklessness. Somebody might know what I just quoted there. And so that's what Sag is. It's like can be very tactless in what it's doing, right? And so like you have to be careful with that, but it gives us a lot of courage, and we really are trying to add to that knowledge base and expand our consciousness, bring it to a new level, so like it's very, very interesting on that level to see that working like that. Okay, and then right to the sextile with Pluto. And so here we go in the critical first degree of both of these signs, something that we're planting that could actually have repercussions or ripples out for 20 years, literally, right? And this is the opportunity to make transformation, right? This is the opportunity to change things in our life that we see that are not like that are in a state of decay or falling apart, and so this is a chance to really reform things, to change things, to transform things around us, any situations or things, mechanical things, anything, physical things, like abstract things that are in need of repair or some kind of care. This is the time we can do that, and we can really get together with groups too. This is where we can get really deep relationships and life experience with groups, and the sum of the group becomes greater than the parts, and it can really push energy in a very effective way forward. Like I said, the repercussions of this right at this seeding time, it can go out a long way. So really getting into things deeply, and then also gives us a very research and investigative mind where we can get to the bottom of anything that we're really into looking at, so we can really expand our knowledge base, right? And really do that, and like human mind study, depth study, psychology, seeing the things that drive us and others is part of this too. So this is a really unique opportunity to take our power that we have, no matter whether it's just a small amount or a great amount, and really affect it. And here's the thing, if you're going to work with the opportunities just to benefit yourself, you may get some benefit, but you are also setting up a huge fall for yourself if you're not sharing that power and the influence and energy that it has with those around you, greater groups, even society in general. Remember, Pluto is a transformer of society. It does not care about our little lives. So this is like, if you are going to help, it's going to reward you. If you're not going to help, he's going to take you down. The Grim Reaper thing, the scythe will come out and cut you down at some point, and it may look like it's fine and dandy for a while, but when the square kicks in, it won't be fine and dandy anymore for you. So like, you really want to share that energy, and really once again get wisdom and knowledge from people who have authority and have power, and they can help you out. They can give you opportunities with what you're doing. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, it's not on the board here, on Friday, Venus is sextile Saturn. This is a great relationship stabilizer, you guys. Like, this is like really brings stability into relationships, brings like a long-term effect. And we're very realistic about the reality of where each of our relationships are, where the floor is, and we can build off that. And for people who are close and tight, you can get a lot closer and tighter and more real with one another. It really favors business relationships too. Really good for any kind of business, non-emotional stuff where you're really into practical driving forward. Good for like groups of business groups too, and also good for getting, once again, advice or wisdom in business or other places from people who are more experienced, more professional, older than you, that kind of thing. Also, great for working in details on creative stuff, like getting into the intricate details of whatever you're creative with. The energy is there. Also, good at managing our money and resources. We're conservative, but we're good. We recognize the places where we should be putting it. It can be good for finding opportunities and investments that are, especially, not like looking for the quick hit, but are more like for a conservative long-term type of stability. So some really good energy to work with. I think, this is one of these weeks where it really depends on our attitude. If we're going to be like an arrogant, what, about things, then we're bound to make a lot of mistakes this week, with our visions, with what we think we want to do. All three of these things, the Mercury opposite Jupiter, the Sun going into Sag, Pluto going into Aquarius, all those three things give a big vision, but can bring a lot of arrogance too. So it really depends on us being consciously aware of that, which is what astrology is all about, is a tool that when we're conscious of what's going on, we can work with and make our lives more fulfilling. So, really need to hone in on that Chiron part is what I really think. And also even the Venus sextile Saturn at the end here, where it really just stabilizes things for a bit. So yeah, just some good energy to work with, but it really depends on attitude and how we are going to make those decisions. That really is the big thing. All right, so that's what I got for this week. Next week, we've got the last week of November, and we are going to have a new moon on the very last day of the week, of the month, at 10 degrees Sagittarius. We're going to have a new moon. So I'll be talking about that a lot next week. And also, next week, is that when, I think it's when Mercury, is that when Mercury goes? Yes, next week is also when Mercury goes retrograde. So we're going to be having that coming up too. So a couple big switches that we'll be talking about next week. Once again, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and you are going to pass this link along for all the work that I just did for you to somebody else. And even if you've done it before, you're going to do it again. And if you want to give a donation, there's my Venmo and Cash App handles. You can give a donation there. I would really love to do a reading for you. And please check the website out to get all the details on that, or anybody else that you know who might need a reading. So really appreciate everybody out there going, we're going bravely forward into the age of Aquarius. There's going to be some, interesting lineups next year coming up with Pluto and Uranus and Neptune and all how they're going to interact together next year, and Saturn too. And it can be, once again, a very dangerous year if we're not clear with what we're doing and with where our visions can actually lead us. There's an awful lot of intelligent people out there, but we make the mistake of not thinking for ourselves a lot. Every time we turn on the media and listen to them, no matter what media it is, because remember, they're all owned by the same 6 companies, basically, we're not thinking for ourselves. Okay. But I know there's a awful lot of intelligent people out there. So this is what this energy is going to require, a little bit of a test. Can you think for yourselves, Or are you just listening to someone else who's appealing to you because they're making some emotional connection with you through media, through something that you agree upon, and then all of a sudden they've got you agreeing with you and everything else, and you're not thinking for yourself. So this is what, maybe this will be a nice little test for us all this week to see if we can get out of that get out of that signal to noise stuff and start listening to ourselves. Because if we don't, we're probably going to end up setting ourselves up for some trip ups. And we can see that going on in the world in front of us with some of the actions that people in the world make and, the media reports on. So that's what I would suggest. We get into that mode where we're tolerant and we're open, but we're really looking at the details of things too, and making sure we're not just on some blind faith thing that's something we heard about, and not paying attention to what our own mind might be showing us if we're giving it a more critical analysis. All right, you guys, I will see you all this week. This is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds Channel. Please pass this link along. Thank you so much.